Alright guys, so we're back with another maintenance video. So I'm going to go ahead now, do a little oil change. The bike's running beautifully, but just going to go ahead now. The oil looks pretty damn filthy. Hopefully my light's good enough. We can see, ooh, it's not looking good in there. So I'm going to go ahead, just picked up a new filter, picked up some new oil, do a little oil change, get this thing running good, and I'll post you guys up. Step one, let's get this bike hot. Let's go check her out. Oh, she's hot. Whew. Ready to go. Let's throw it on the lift and get to it. Now that we got it all nice and hot, we're going to wait about 10 minutes, wait for all the oil to drop down in the pan. Then we're going to start getting to work, start pulling the drain plug, the filter off, and we're just going to get to it. Time to get dirty. So I'm going to go ahead now. I got my socket on the end of my breaker bar right here. What I need is a 20mm socket. In this case, I don't have a 20mm, so I'm using a 13/16, which is the closest equivalent, and it also holds the bolt pretty snug. If it didn't hold it snug enough, I wouldn't have used it. So now, get you guys straight up. My breaker bar and my drain plug right here. That was surprisingly loose. I don't know if that's a good sign or what. Now that it's broken loose, put it on my ratchet. Let's go to town. Once you start feeling it start to get pretty easy to turn them by hand. Go ahead, put the pan over it. It's almost better to do it with the socket since the bike is hot, because this oil is going to be just smoldering all over my hand. So I'm going to be quick with it. I'm going to hold the drain plug over the hole even when it's off to slow up the oil. Okay, so my drain plug's off now. Wow, isn't that lovely? Spilled hot oil all over the lift. This oil is really thin now. It's hot, so it's going to be thin, but I mean it's watery, so it needed a good changing. I mean, the bike's going to run so much better. It's going to shift better, be much smoother once I get this swapped out. So, good amount of debris on this magnetic plug too. We'll clean all that crud off. That went pretty damn quick. So, next step, we're going to pull off the filter. So I'm going to get my oil filter wrench now, and I'll be back in a second. Jesus, our oil pan was full right to the top, and this is a multiple gallon oil pan, or at least a 1 gallon oil pan. So what that says is, since our case is only rated for 3,300 milliliters, that this was far too full. Your oil should not look like this when it's dripping. This looks like water more than oil. That's awful. Got my trusty little oil filter wrench out. Hopefully the size that fits. Just try to slide it on this filter now. Got it on. I might have to push it on a little bit. These are a really tight fit. Doesn't help the exhaust is cooking hot right next to us. Let's see if we can spin this filter now. Nope. Shit. We're slipping on the filter. I just need to press this thing on or hammer it on a little bit. See if we can get just enough grip to break it loose. Nope. Alright, so I'm going to go get a hammer and try to hammer this biatch on. So we're hitting a little bit of a hiccup right here. What happened is this oil filter wrench has 2 different sizes on it. It has obviously this bigger size and the smaller size. The smaller size is what I need for my oil filter, but the problem is like the threads on the filter aren't long enough to reach this bottom section, which is what I need to loosen it. So, looks like we're going to do the good old screwdriver trick. So the way the screwdriver trick works is you're going to want to take your sharpest and like sturdiest flathead that you have, and we're going to hammer it right in the side of the filter right here. What you want to do is go as much towards the back of the filter or the outside of the filter as you can. The more you go in, there's actually a rod that comes out of the motor, which is what the screwdriver, or the oil filter rather, screws onto. So we're going to want to avoid that stud that's coming out of the motor and just tap the screwdriver in towards the back over here. I'll explain it more as I do it. Alright, so we're going to have a screwdriver in there now. You can see I just tapped it right in the back of the filter. Just being very vertical with it, not trying to hit at a horizontal angle or anything. I got it perfectly perpendicular to the filter. I only have it in a little bit, but that should give me enough. This is just dissolving into madness. I mean, I punctured this oil filter like 10 times with the screwdriver trick. And it's also getting loose though. So that's a good many hours later. Oh, look at that. That was left of our filter off. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Home stretch. Third down. Batter up. It's a home run. I almost want to cry. I made an absolute freaking mess right here. Oh, that's the way it goes. Shoot me now. Back to business. I got my new filter here. We're gonna go ahead doing. What I'm gonna go ahead and do now is just oil up around this O-ring right here. What that does is, or grease, or really anything, but what some kind of lubricant will do is keep the O-ring from ripping. So I'm just gonna dab it along. Grease that up. Motor oil works, you know, just as fine too. Probably even better, but grease will work. And we do that so when you tighten down your O-ring, or tighten down your filter rather, the O-ring doesn't get ripped. Go over here next to our BP oil spill. And I cleaned around the surface. I cleaned around the filter housing already. Cleaned all that off. Slide our new filter in. Get this all tightened down. So we're back, just got the plug in. Just going ahead now and filling up the oil. So on the side of the case, or really on the side of any case on any bike, it's gonna have a millimeter. And this is usually the value of oil that it takes when there's absolutely no oil in there. So I'm gonna start off, that's 3,300 milliliters. I'm gonna start off, each one of these I think is 946 milliliters. So I'm gonna start off putting 3 of these in, and then we'll see where we're at after 3. I think after 3, what I'll do is start the bike, let it warm up, and then turn the bike off and let it sit for a second, and we'll just see where the oil level is then. So we'll do that in a minute. All right, so we're back. I just filled up the bike with 3 quarts of oil. What I'm doing now is I just started the bike up, and we're gonna let it idle for like a minute or 2. Then I'm gonna shut the bike off and see where our oil level is then. I'll shut it off, then we'll wait like a couple of minutes like we did when we warmed it up initially. Let all the oil sink to the bottom, and then we're gonna see where our level is. Right now, obviously the bike's on, so you're not gonna see a level, but it's already been running about a minute. We'll turn the key off, and now we're just gonna check our level. You'll slowly start to see it rise, maybe. I am a little short. It recommends 3,300 milliliters, and I only put in not even 3,000, so it's looking a little low already. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute, and I'll check up with you guys here shortly. Even after letting it sit for a minute, I'm still bone dry. It's just at the bottom of the sight glass here, so I'm just gonna go ahead, start filling her up, get her to the top. The long pour. There's not much left, so it's not that impressive, but, and I'm pouring into a funnel. We won't talk about that though. Oh, we just got the oil all changed now. The bike even sounds better, I swear. Oh. Yeah, so if you guys liked the video, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps. Every little bit helps. You guys show support. I'll keep making these videos. If not, I probably still will anyway. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.